Step 1 to making tea is to pour the water. The joints involved in this are the shoulder, elbow, wrist, and phalanges. At the shoulder, which is held in abduction, the prime mover is the anterior and lateral deltoid. The antagonists are the posterior deltoid and latissimus dorsi. The synergists are the supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and subscapularis, which are all muscles part of the rotator cuff. The stabilizers are the trapezius muscles and rhomboid. The elbow, which is held in flexion, has the prime mover brachialis, the antagonist triceps brachii, the synergists pronator teres, biceps brachii, and brachioradialis, and the stabilizers supinator anconeus, pronator quadratus. In the wrist and forearm, which is held in pronation, the prime movers are the pronator teres, pronator quadratus, and the antagonists are the biceps brachii and supinator. The synergists are the digitorum profundus, pollicis longus, digitorum superficialis, carpi ulnaris, palmaris longus, and carpi radialis. The stabilizers are the carpi ulnaris, digiti minimi, digitorum, carpi radialis longus, and the carpi radialis brevis. In the phalanges, which are held in flexion and opposition, the prime mover is the albinus pollicis, the digitorum profundus, pollicis longus, and the digitorum superficialis. The antagonist is the digiti minimi, the digitorum, and the pollicis. The synergists are the abductor pollicis brevis, the flexor pollicis brevis, the abductor digiti minimi, and the flexor digiti minimi brevis. The stabilizers are the adductor pollicis and the lumbricals.
The second step for making tea is steeping, flavoring, and stirring your tea. The shoulder, wrist, elbow, and phalanges are all involved in this step. For the shoulder, it is held in both horizontal abduction and horizontal adduction. For abduction, the prime mover is the pectoralis major. The antagonist is the posterior deltoid, and the synergist is the anterior deltoid. The stabilizers are the supraspinous, infraspinous, teres minor, and the subscapularis. The fixators are the scapular muscles, intrinsic stabilization subsystem, and the rectus abdominis, as well as the obliques, quadratus lumborum, and erector spinae. In horizontal adduction, the prime mover is the posterior deltoid. The antagonists are the pectoralis major and the anterior deltoid. The stabilizers are the subspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and the subscapularis. The fixators are the scapular muscles, intrinsic stabilization subsystem, rectus abdominis, obliques, quadratus lumborum, and erector spinae. For the elbow, the prime mover is the brachialis. The synergists are the biceps brachii and the brachioradialis. The antagonists are the triceps and the aconeus. The stabilizer for the lateral side are the extender carpi radialis brevis, extender digitorum, extender digiti minimi, and extender digiti minimi, extender carpi ulnaris. On the medial side, the stabilizers are the pronator teres, flexi carpi radialis, palmaris longus, flexor carpi ulnaris, and the humeral head of the flexor digitorum superficialis. The fixators are the muscles of the shoulder, scapular, and sternoclavicular joint. For the wrist and the forearm, they are maintained in flexion. The prime movers are the extender indicatus, extender pollicis longus, extender pollicis brevis, extender digiti minimi, and the extender digitorum. The antagonists are the flexor digitum profundus, the flexor pollicis longus, the flexor digitorum superficialis. The synergists are the flexor digitorum profundus, the flexor pollicis longus, and the flexor digitorum superficialis, as well as the flexor carpi ulnaris, the palmaris longus, and the flexor carpi radialis. The stabilizers are the extender carpi ulnaris, extender digiti minimi, extender digitorum, extender carpi radialis longus, and the extender carpi radialis brevis. The phalanges are held in extension and opposition. Their prime movers are the oponeus pollicis, flexor digitorum profundus, flexor pollicis longus, and flexor digitorum superficialis. The antagonists are the extensor digiti minimi, the extensor digitorum, and the extensor pollicis. The synergist is the brachioradialis, and the stabilizers are the extensor retiniculum.
Step 3. Drinking tea. The joints involved in drinking tea are the shoulder, elbow, wrist, and phalanges. The shoulder is held in abduction. The prime mover is the anterior and lateral deltoid. The antagonists are the posterior deltoid and latissimus dorsi. The synergist is the supraspinatus, infraspinatus, teres minor, and subscapularis, which are all muscles part of the rotator cuff. The stabilizers are the trapezius muscle and rhomboid. The next joint is elbow, which is held in flexion. Prime mover is the brachialis, the antagonists are the triceps and aconius, the synergists are the biceps brachii and brachioradialis. The stabilizers on the lateral side are the extensor carpi radialis brevis, extensor digitorum, extensor digiti minimi, and the extensor carpi ulnaris. On the medial side, they are the pronator teres, flexor carpi radialis, palmaris longus, flexor carpi ulnaris, and the humeral head of flexor digitorum superficialis. The fixators are the muscles of the shoulder, scapula, and sternoclavicular joint. The wrist, which is held in pronation, has the prime mover pronator teres and the pronator quadratus. The antagonists are the biceps brachii and the supinator. The synergists are the digitorum profundus, pollicis longus, digitorum superficialis, carpi ulnaris, palmaris longus, and carpi radialis. The stabilizers are the carpi ulnaris, digiti minimi, digitorum, carpi radialis longus, and the carpi radialis brevis. In the phalanges, which are held in flexion and opposition, the prime mover is the apponus pollicis, the digitorum profundus, the pollicis longus, and the digitorum superficialis. The antagonist is the digiti minimi, digitorum, and the pollicis. The synergists are the abductor pollicis brevis, flexor pollicis brevis, and abductor digiti minimi, as well as the flexor digiti minimi brevis. Finally, the stabilizers are the abductor pollicis and the lumbricals.